Okay, well, a very good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are and whatever time you're watching this video. This is another installment in CBRE's short video series. We've obviously done a few on childcare, a fair few on medical, and subject to when this is uploaded, there'll be a fair few on education and aged care as well. So we try to keep these to about 10 minutes or less, answering a few key questions that people have asked us in the space over the past 6 to 8 months. So we're very fortunate today to be joined by Chiara from FMSA Architecture. Chiara's got 9+ years experience as an architect across both Australia and Italy. So Chiara, thank you very much for making the time to jump on the call this afternoon.
No worries. Hi Marcello, how are you?
Good, thanks. Thanks very much for joining. So we've got three key questions that we'll run through one at a time. The first, and probably one of the most common at the moment, given everything that's happened over the past 6 to 12 months, is how do you think the design of schools will change kind of moving forward as a result of what's occurred this year?
Well, we've seen a big change into the design of schools since we actually started working in education. We have a team that has about 15 years experience in education, and things have been changing constantly. But this year has been massive, of course, for the COVID situation, and also realizing how much flexible spaces are needed in the education sector. One of the other things is the impact of technology and how important technology for remote learning and for all the new aspects of life for students is. And we've noticed that there's going to be an increase into wanting more flexible spaces, more technology, and also wanting to have these spaces to be available 24/7 also for community use. So when you invest, as you know, when you invest into a new build, you want the best out of that expenses. So you want that building to be used 24/7, and we've noticed that the community will be playing a role key into this. So wanting to use those education spaces more, not only during the normal school hours.
Perfect. That makes a fair bit of sense. I think we've heard a fair few operators and schools say similar to us as well. Now, in terms of specific building codes that are kind of in place, do you feel these should be addressed in these education facilities moving forward? Is there something that can be done in that aspect?
Yeah, I think it's the industry as a whole that should be working on revising some of the regulations. There's a couple of examples, like 2-story schools are considered a type B construction, and they are subject to very strict fire regulations. So if that was going to change into a type C construction, like office buildings, that will reduce massively the cost of construction. So that means we could invest more capital into other sectors, like, as we were saying before, technology or even more builds. So I think it's a conversation that the industry as a whole has to have. But designers and architects have been pushing for changes, of course. And we've been pushing also the educators to come along with those changes, not to stick only to the old methods.
And that makes a whole lot of sense. I think we've had some similar discussions around the aged care codes as well, and they haven't changed for a fair bit of time. But I think a lot of people are hopeful as a result of everything that's happened this year. There might be some change in both the aged care and education building codes. I think moving forward. Now, just to move to kind of the final question, and again, for everyone watching, to recap, we do keep these pretty brief, just to touch on the key elements. Specific conversations can be had post this with Chiara anytime if you want to speak further about the topics or anything that we haven't covered as well. But Chiara, what are some of the recent innovations or changes that you and FMSA have seen implemented kind of throughout the design process of these education facilities in kind of recent times?
We've noticed that and we've been pushing for the education buildings to become not only a building itself, but also an educational tool. One of the things that we've done is building in a Narrow Warren for the plumbing industry, the PICAC. It's a training facility, and we've decided to expose all the services, expose the all the items that are important for that kind of training facility, but also pushing the students to not only learn from their teachers, but from their surroundings. So you can see the craftsmanship of the services that have been done there, and the and everything that is exposed. So the building becomes a learning tool. And one of the other things that we're pushing, and then we're doing a lot, is modular schools and modular construction. So the modularity of these buildings and the possibility to build off-site has proven to be very effective, very cost-effective from a planning side. So the amount of money that we spend is well worth the construction off-site, way less disruption to site, and the optimal use of spaces also when you have trades on site. So we've been doing a few of these innovations in our recent projects, and especially the past couple of years, and we see that this is going to be happening for a lot longer.
Having some of those components constructed off-site, because we've seen this in the past, I think, with some hospitals done in rural locations as well. Do you find that obviously it's more efficient on the site as well for space, but is it also more efficient in terms of the construction process, in terms of the speed at which it's complete?
Yeah, so what happens is that there needs to be a lot more planning in the beginning, because everything has to run smoothly, and then things can be adjusted on site. But at the end of the day, we are designing a lot before, and then there's less disruption for the trades on site. So, and it's all about the communication too. So we have to have all the documentation correct at the beginning. We need to go through everything with the trades. Everyone has to be aware of the process, and then we can fix problems on site when they occur, if they occur.
Okay, perfect. Well, that makes a lot of sense. And for everyone watching, there will be another video with Chiara in due course in the aged care space as well, because she does specialise across a kind of variety of fields at FMSA. So that's probably going to conclude our brief recording today. We will put Chiara's details in email that comes out with this video. We'll put them on LinkedIn, and you can also reach out to us anytime if you want to be put in touch directly with Chiara as well. But Chiara, thank you very much for making the time this afternoon again, and I'm sure there'll be a fair few people that will want to reach out post today's video.
Thank you, Marcello. It was
No
a great pleasure.